What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Team Fish Knuckles YouTube channel. Today is Saturday, and that means we're playing Saturday tournament. Today, we are playing the Water Toolbox deck, and actually, we're playing the deck that Paul Johnson used to get top 4. I think they got 3rd place with it at U.S. Nationals, but we actually did a little interview with Paul. I sent him a message on Facebook asking him 3 questions, and he answered those. And I think for the next couple weeks, we're actually going to cover some of the top 8 decks that did well at U.S. Nationals and try to get these questions from these guys, which would be really nice. It's really cool to get some of their information out and see what they think about their deck and everything about that. But let's look at the questions. I asked Paul 3 questions. I said, question number 1, why did you decide to play the deck? He said, I decided to play Water Toolbox because I felt it was the most consistent deck and had strong/even matchups across the board. Although it has few unfavorable matchups, including Vesco Vileplume, it was a strong choice considering the large tournament and diverse decks I may face depending on how Tom pairs me against my opponent. That's a really good, it's a really good statement because this deck does have a lot of control. Depending on the situation, you can attack with different attackers, which is really nice, and that's why I love the deck a lot. So question number 2, would you make any changes to your list? He said, I didn't really use Glaceon-EX to its potential except for being a water Pokemon placeholder for Grenade Hammer damage to later heal from Rough Seas. I might have changed it to an Aegislash-EX instead. It was something I was considering prior to the tournament, but thought Glaceon could be somewhat useful. I also thought about having one Muscle Man to easily deal with knockouts like Muse and etc. that have 50 HP. 50 HP, which could be really nice. So today, we're actually going to change the Glaceon. So Glaceon has the Crystal Ray attack, make it where evolutions can hurt you, which I personally don't like a lot, and he actually wanted to play the Aegislash. So I am going to play the Aegislash instead. That's the only really change we're going to make in the list. So let's get the Aegislash. Let's grab that. Put it there, okay? So we'll put that. We won't add the Muspin right now. He said he wanted to play it, but he didn't say he really wanted to change it. He did say the Glaceon was kind of useless. I mean, I guess it's good against Vesco Vileplume. But this deck plays, they play Jolteon now, so that might be some way to counter your Glaceon. And they can just Sky Return your Glaceons over and over again as well. And maybe if you don't find a Rough Seas, you can not heal your Pokemon. It's a very strange deck. So we're changing that out for the Glaceon. We're not going to put the Muscle Man as of right now. And my 3rd question was, do you have any tips for people while playing the deck? He said, I would try to evaluate the board/matchup/situation to determine what tactic you should go for. Usually you want to focus on getting Quake and Punch ASAP. If you're facing against decks like Greninja, I would try to go as aggressive as possible with Grenade Hammer or Metal Pump if it gets you the end knockout. I say this because I didn't run a ROS EX, which I don't think you need just for one matchup. Otherwise, it's not that great of an attacker. So there he goes. He said he likes Articuno because you can use the Delta Plus Ancient Trade to take knockouts, but you want to be careful as well because you don't want to get in early game down to low hand size. So you want to be okay. You want to decide what you want to do. Like, do you want to go aggressive with Articuno, take 2 price cards? Do you want to go Grenade Hammer? Can you risk going down to 2 price cards if you want to end something like that? Which is it's a very good thing to say about the deck. I do like a lot how this deck kind of works. If you don't know, let's go over the deck real quick and I'll explain how it works. And also, thank you, Paul, so much for answering those questions. I really do appreciate it a lot. It does give you some insight on the deck as well because he did pilot to 3rd place, which is still amazing. Congrats once again. There's like 1,100 plus masters, I think, so that's amazing. So you play 3 Toad for Quake and Punch 30. Your opponent can play 2 item cards. We know what this does. A Grenade Hammer does 130, and this attack does 30 damage to 2 of your bench Pokemon, which Paul did talk about somewhat, and he talked about how you Grenade Hammer to a Glaceon, so that way you can use Rough Seas to heal the 30 damage off it, because 30 damage heals, Rough Seas heals 30 damage from each of your water Pokemon, so it counter-reacts your Grenade Hammer, which is really nice. And one cool thing that you do with the deck is you Quake and Punch for 40, and then Grenade Hammer for 140 to take a knockout for 180, which is really, really cool. The deck plays 1 Regice for Resistance Blizzard. That's the main thing. You do 70, and EX Pokemon cannot hurt you. So if your opponent plays an all EX deck, Regice can easily just sweep it because your opponent does not have an answer for it, which is really, really nice. 2 Manaphy for the Aqua Tube. It has free retreat for any Pokemon that has Water G attached to it, and it has Metal Pump for 60, and you heal 30 damage for each of your bench Pokemon. Now remember, Paul said that if you play against Greninja, the thing you want to do the most is use Metal Pump or Grenade Hammer fairly quickly, so that way your opponent can't set up their Greninja breaks. And he said he didn't play a ROS. I'll pull that up real quick so I can see what it does. Hold Aurorus, here we go. So Aurorus, don't worry about the ability too much, I guess. I mean, it could be somewhat useful. Each of your Pokemon that has any water G attached to it can't be paralyzed, and it has the attack Crystal Breath, but it needs 4 energy, which is a lot. It does 160, and with a Fighting Ball, it does 170, which can knock out a Greninja Break, which is why people are playing Aurorus, but I think it's pretty much useless, and I wouldn't play it in my deck, like Paul said. It's not really that worth it. Overall, you'd rather just go for a Quake Punch to Grenade Hammer instead of investing 4 energies on a Aurorus, and you can't even attack with it next turn, which is pretty upsetting. Alright, so the deck plays Articuno for the Tri-Edge. Flip 3 coins, the deck does 40 more damage for each head, so 40, 4, 8, 12, you can flip like 140, 150 with the Fighting Free Balls, and Delta Plus lets you take 1 more prize card instead of 2, which is really nice. I do like that a lot, especially if you're playing things like Night March or Froakies or something. You could easily take 2 prize cards with it, which is really cool. 1 Hoopa to use Scouring to search for 3 EX Pokemon, and 2 Shaymin to help set up get 7 cards in your hand. So that's all the Pokemon in your deck. So next up is 3 energy switches so that we can manipulate your energies. And the reason why this is so good is because you play 4 Max Elixir. Max Elixir says look at the top 6 cards of your deck and attach a basic energy card you find there to a basic Pokemon on your bench. Shuffle the other cards back into your deck. So what you can do during your first turn, maybe your turn number 2, you want to get attack off. You can attach a Water Juice to the active, Max Elixir up to the bench, Energy Switch up to the active, and that could be a really cool wombo combo you could play. You can also like double Max Elixir to a bench, retreat after attaching to the active, retreat, Energy Switch up to the active, and Grenade Hammer turn 1. This seems like really crazy to do, but it does happen sometimes. 1 Megaphone to get rid of all tools in play, which I do like a lot because what you can do with this deck is you can Megaphone and then Quake Punch, making your opponent can't play any of the iron cards, which is really cool. And also what you can do is you can do a ton of damage with Toad or anybody. Megaphone, knock off like a Fighting Free Ball, that Pokemon gets knocked out, and then you can Grenade Hammer for another knockout as well, which is really, really cool. 1 Super Rod to get back any 3 combination of Pokemon energies, which is nice to get back your water energies. 3 Trainers Mail, 4 Ultra Ball, 4 via Seeker. Usually you play 4 Trainers Mail, but obviously he couldn't fit it. You can maybe kill a Rough Seas for a 4th Trainers Mail, but he didn't say to do that, so I wouldn't do it if I was you. 1 AZ to return 1 Pokemon into your hand, but you can discard all cards attached to it. This is great to do, especially Lysandre of one of your Pokemon. You start with the Hoopa. Or if you just have a really heavily damaged Pokemon, you can AC to pick it back in your hand. 1 Hex Maniac to shut down abilities. 2 Lysandre, 2 Ant, 4 Sycamore, and 1 Xerosic to discard a tool or special energy card in play. 4 Rough Seas, we already talked about the Stum. You can heal 30 damage for each of your water Pokemon to play, which is really nice, and allows you to take with your Pokemon, because you have free retreat with Manaphy, so you can switch between Pokemon and use Rough Seas that way. 3 Fighting Free Ball to give your base Pokemon 40 more HP, and they do 10 more damage. So now Seismitoad-EX has 220 HP instead of 180, which is really cool. 11 Water G, and that is the deck right there. Once again, shout out to Paul for helping us out with the interview. I really do appreciate that a lot. In the next couple weeks, we will play other decks from top 8 until Steam Siege comes out, or Steam Sage, whatever you want to call it. Once that hits, we are going to switch it up, and we're going to try to practice a lot for the World Championship, because that is coming up at the end of August, I guess in the middle of August. But hopefully you enjoyed this video, guys. Thanks for watching. If you're new to the Saturday tournament, we actually play 3 games with this deck. We do the introduction in round 1, 2, and 3. And those are each individual videos, just in case you want to skip it. You don't want to watch the introduction. You want to go back to a certain video. You want to go back to a certain part, which I do like a lot. But hopefully you enjoyed this video, guys. Thanks for watching. Have a great Saturday. And we'll see you in the next 3 videos of the Saturday tournament. Alright guys, just want to give a quick shout out to our 2 sponsors, 60 Cards and Yeti Gaming. The links are down below to their websites. Make sure you go check them out. Alrighty.